was the cursed village outcast, with a mysterious birthmark until the day the dying Lycan king collapsed at my door, his golden eyes meeting mine as 200 royal physicians had failed to heal him. What happens when the touch of an Omega girl instantly soothes a beast that medicine couldn't cure? And why are the king's enemies so desperate to keep us apart? The village bell rings 6 times as I pull my hood lower. I shouldn't be here. The market square is full of happy talk and laughing, sounds of people who fit in. I've never known what that feels like. My fingers touch the mark that goes from the side of my face down my neck. This mark is why people call me cursed. This mark is why I live alone. Watch where you're going. A man selling apples pushes me as I trip through the crowd. I just want to get my herbs and leave before anyone knows who I am. I live in a small house at the edge of the forest. My grandma taught me how to heal people there before she died. People from the village come to my door at night when they are sick, and the town doctors can't help them. Then they act like they don't know me when the sun is up. Did you hear? The king's doctor has called 200 doctors to the big castle. The king is getting worse, whispers a woman near me. I keep my eyes down and pick up some dried purple flowers. The king has been sick for many months now. Everyone talks about it, but it's not my worry. My world is just my garden and the few brave people who come for my healing plants. Make way, the king's guards are coming. The crowd moves apart like water. I try to make myself smaller, but something makes me look up. Through all the people, I see him tall and strong, his face half hidden by a dark cloth even though it's not cold. Even though he's bent over in pain, power comes off him like heat from a fire. Our eyes meet for just a breath. Golden eyes. Not human eyes. Beautiful eyes. I can't breathe. He sees me, really sees me, and his face changes from pain to like he knows me. I drop my basket and run, leaving my herbs on the ground, my heart hitting my ribs like a bird trying to get out of a cage. Back to my safe house. Back to where no one can stare at my mark. Away from those golden eyes that somehow felt like home. 3 days pass. I stay in my little house, mixing herbs for people's pains and trying to forget those eyes. But they follow me in my dreams. The rain hits my windows like small rocks. Thunder shakes the walls as I stir a thick paste for old Mrs. Jensen's aching joints. Then comes a hard knocking at my door. Please, is anyone there? Help us! A woman's scared voice cuts through the storm noise. I wait, then open the door to find a guard in metal armor soaked with rain, scared holding up a person in a wet cloak. Between them, holding the cloaked person's hand, stands a small child, shaking. Please, the guard begs, her armor shiny with raindrops. He fell down on the forest road. The castle doctors are hours away. And the child, lightning lights up the sky, and I see them better. Those same golden eyes, now cloudy with fever, find mine. You, he whispers before falling forward. Fear grabs me not of him, but for him. I step aside, bring him in. They put him on my bed. When the guard takes off his cloak, I see the signs. Long teeth, hot skin, his hands changing to animal claws, then back to human hands. A wolf man. Not just any wolf man. The king, I breathe. The little girl, no more than 6 years old, grabs my skirt. Can you help my uncle? The doctors couldn't. I should be scared. I should send them away. Instead, I touch his hot head, and something inside me wakes up, like a string on an old harp that no one has played for years. I'll try, I whisper, though I've never helped a wolf man before. But first, let's get you dry, little one. As I wrap the child in a blanket by the fire, the king's eyes follow me, clear despite his fever. He looks weak now, but I can tell he is dangerous. Yet somehow, I feel safer than I have in years. I look at the guard. What happened to him? The guard, who tells me her name is Commander Thorne, looks worried. He's been sick for months, getting worse. The doctors say he's caught between his man form and wolf form. It's tearing him apart. I nod, understanding more than she knows. Being caught between two worlds is a pain I know well. And the child? I ask, looking at the little girl who has fallen asleep by the fire. His niece, Sarah. Her parents died in the fighting at the border. She won't leave his side, even when the change comes on him. I look back at the king. His breathing is fast and shallow. Sweat makes his dark hair stick to his face. But even sick, there's something about him that makes it hard to look away. I need to check him, I say to Commander Thorne. You can stay, or you can rest. There's food in the small box by the fire. I'll stay, she says, her hand never leaving her sword. I gather my herbs, mixing them in a clay bowl as my grandma taught me. The commander watches every move. The rain keeps hitting the roof. The fire cracks, and the king moans in pain. When I sit beside him on the bed, his eyes open again. Golden, burning with fever, but so aware. The girl from the market, he says, his voice rough. The one with the mark. I look away. Yes, my name is Beautiful, he whispers, then coughs hard, his body shaking. No one has ever called my mark beautiful before. I don't know what to say, so I say nothing. Instead, I put my hand on his chest, feeling the strange beat of his heart too fast, then too slow, like it can't decide what rhythm to follow. This will help the fever, I say, putting the herb paste on his head. But I need to know more about your sickness to truly help. He tries to sit up, but he's too weak. 200 doctors have tried. Why would you be different? I touch my mark without thinking, because I'm not like other healers. Something passes between us when I say this, a knowing, a truth we both feel. He nods slowly. Silver, he says. I think there's silver in my blood, poisoning me, keeping me from changing fully, keeping me in pain. Silver poison. That would explain a lot. Silver hurts wolf people. Everyone knows that. But getting it out of blood? That's not something my herbs can fix. Unless. I look at my hands, remembering how Grandma said they were special. How she said my mark wasn't a curse but a gift, if I could learn to use it. I'm going to try something, I tell him. It might not work. It might hurt. He gives a small laugh that turns into another cough. I'm used to hurt. I put both my hands on his chest and close my eyes. I don't know what I'm looking for, but I try to feel the poison, the wrongness in his blood. At first, nothing happens. Then my mark begins to warm, like sun on skin. Energy flows from somewhere deep inside me, through my arms, into my hands, into him. The king gasps. His back arches. Commander Thorne jumps up, sword out. No, he says to her, his voice stronger. Wait. Under my hands. I can feel it, tiny bits of silver, like stars in a night sky, floating in his blood. My power, I don't know what else to call it, pulls the poison together, drawing it toward my hands. Sweat runs down my face. My arms shake. This is harder than anything I've ever done. Then a small black spot appears on his chest, right under my right hand. It grows, becoming a small ball of dark liquid, the silver pulled out through his skin. I grab a cloth and wipe it away, nearly falling over from how tired I am. The king takes a deep breath, the first easy breath I've seen him take. His eyes are clearer now, the gold brighter. How did you do that? Commander Thorne asks, her sword still out but lowered now. I shake my head. I don't know. I just felt it. There's more poison, the king says, looking at me with wonder. But for the first time in months, I can feel where it is. And I can feel my wolf again, not fighting me but waiting. Rest now, I tell him, standing on shaky legs. Tomorrow we'll try again. As I turn to check on little Sierra, he catches my hand. His touch sends a spark up my arm. "What's your name?" he asks. I almost don't tell him. Names have power, Grandma always said. But those golden eyes hold me, and I find I want him to know. "Mira," I say softly. "Mira," he repeats, like he's tasting the word. It means wonder in the old tongue. Fitting. As he falls asleep, still holding my hand, I wonder how a king knows the old tongue. I wonder why my mark warmed when I healed him. I wonder why, for the first time since Grandma died, I don't feel alone. Outside, the storm passes. Inside, another kind of storm is just beginning. Morning light sneaks through my window, making dust dance in its beams. I've been up all night watching over the king. His fever broke just before dawn, and now he sleeps more peacefully. The little girl, Sarah, is curled up by the fire, her small hands tucked under her cheek. Commander Thorne sits by the door, her tired eyes never leaving her king. She looks at me with a mix of wonder and worry. "How did you do that? Pull the poison out?" she asks in a low voice. I shake my head. "I'm not sure. My grandmother told me our family has special healing gifts tied to our marks, but I've never done anything like that before. The royal doctors tried everything," she says. "Herbs, prayers, even magic from the mountain witches. Nothing helped." I look at the sleeping king. In the soft morning light, with the pain lines smoothed from his face, he looks younger, still powerful, but also more human. It's hard to believe this is the same fearsome ruler I've heard stories about since I was small. "There's still more poison in him," I say. "I can feel it, like small, shiny stars in his blood. Can you get it out? All of it?" I touch my mark, which still feels warm from last night's healing. "I think so, but not all at once. It would hurt him too much." And I hesitate. "And what?" Commander Thorne leans forward. "And it takes something from me. Energy. Life force. I don't know what to call it, but I couldn't do it again right now if I wanted to." The commander nods, understanding in her eyes. "Rest then. I'll watch over both of them." I must have fallen asleep in my chair, because the next thing I know, small hands are patting my face. "Are you awake, Mark Lady?" Sarah asks, her eyes big and curious. Uncle is asking for soup. I blink sleep from my eyes. The light has changed. It must be afternoon now. The smell of something cooking makes my stomach growl. "Commander Thorne is making soup from your garden things," Sarah explains, pointing to where the commander stirs a pot over the fire. "She said to let you sleep, but Uncle is awake now." I look over at the bed. The king is indeed awake, propped up against my pillows. His golden eyes watch me and Sarah with a soft expression I wouldn't have expected on such a powerful face. "I'm sorry for taking your bed," he says, his voice stronger than last night. "And for the intrusion." I stand, straightening my wrinkled dress. "It's no trouble. How do you feel?" "Better than I have in months," he admits, though still weak. I walk to the bed and carefully sit on its edge. "May I ask, holding my hands out. He nods, and I place my palms on his chest again. The connection is instant this time. I can feel his heartbeat, steadier now, and the remaining poison, less scattered than before. "The poison is gathering," I say, surprised. "Like my healing is still working, even while I slept." "I can feel it," he says. "Here." He points to his left side, near his heart. It burns, but in one place now, not everywhere. Our eyes meet, and something passes between us, an understanding, a connection I can't explain. "I might be able to draw more out today," I say. Sarah climbs onto the bed next to us. "Can I watch? I want to learn healing too." The king smiles at her, a real smile that changes his whole face. "Curious as always, little star. Always better to learn by doing," I tell her, making room. "Watch carefully." As Commander Thorne brings over bowls of soup that smell of carrots and thyme, I explain to Sarah what I'm going to do. The king watches me with those golden eyes, a look on his face I can't quite read. "Why are your eyes that color?" I ask him suddenly, curiosity getting the better of me. "I'm a Lycan," he says simply. "All my kind have golden eyes. Some try to hide it with special drops or spells, but I never saw the point." Lycan. I repeat the word. "Not werewolf?" He makes a face. "Werewolf is what scared villagers call us. Lycan is our true name." "And do all Lycans get sick like you? Caught between forms?" He shakes his head. "No, this is something else. I believe I was poisoned on purpose." Commander Thorn makes a sharp sound. "Your Majesty, we don't know that for certain, don't we?" His voice gets that kingly tone, the one that makes even brave Commander Thorn lower her eyes. "The timing? After Lord Chancellor's visit to Silvercrest? The way the symptoms appeared only after drinking their peace offering wine?" The commander sighs. "Yes, but we have no proof. And now is not the time for such talk." She looks meaningfully at little Sarah, who is watching with wide eyes. The king's face softens. "You're right, of course. Forgive me." We eat our soup in silence. I can't help but notice how different we all are. Sitting around my small table, the powerful Lycan king, his loyal commander, an innocent child, and me, the marked outcast. Yet somehow it feels right. After eating, I prepare to draw more poison from the king. This time, knowing what to expect, I'm less afraid. "It will hurt," I warn him. He gives me a wry smile. "I know pain well, healer. Do what you must." As I place my hands on him, I feel my mark warm again. The power flows more easily this time, like water finding a path it's traveled before. The king grits his teeth, but makes no sound as the poison begins to gather under my hands. Sarah watches with her mouth open. "Your mark is glowing," she says excitedly. "I can't see it, of course, but I can feel the heat." As the black poison forms on the king's skin, I wipe it away carefully with a clean cloth. "Again," the king says, his breathing harsh but controlled. "There's more." We work like this for an hour, drawing out poison bit by bit. Each time I feel a little more drained, and the king grows a little stronger. By the time I sit back, exhausted, his color is better, and his eyes are clear and bright. "Enough for today," Commander Thorn says firmly, bringing me water to drink. "You'll kill yourself trying to do too much at once." The king nods, looking at me with concern. "She's right. You're pale as the moon." I drink the water, feeling it revive me somewhat. "I'm fine, just tired." "You should rest," he says, moving to get up. "I can." "No," I say quickly, putting a hand on his arm. Even that small touch sends a strange warmth through me. "You're not strong enough yet. The poison is still there, even if we've removed a lot." He looks like he wants to argue, but Sarah climbs onto the bed again and pats his hand. "You need to rest, Uncle. That's what doctors always say." A smile touches his lips. "Is that so, little star?" She nods seriously. "And the Mark lady is a better doctor than all the others. She made you better already." The king looks at me, and something in his gaze makes me look away, my cheeks warming. "Yes," he says softly. "She certainly did." As night falls, I make a bed of blankets for myself near the fire. Sarah insists on sleeping beside me, her small body curling trustingly against mine. It's been so long since anyone trusted me this way, it makes my throat tight with feelings I can't name. The commander takes first watch, sitting by the door with her sword across her lap. In the quiet darkness, I hear the king's voice. So low, I almost miss it. "What's your story, healer? How did someone with your gift end up living alone at the forest's edge?" I stare at the fire's dying embers. People fear what they don't understand. This mark appeared on my face when I was 10. That same year, my parents died of the fever. Only my grandmother would take me in. And she taught you healing? I nod, though he probably can't see it in the dark. She had the gift too, though her mark was smaller, just behind her ear. Easy to hide. Mine isn't. Silence stretches between us. Then, I think it's beautiful. My heart jumps at his words. You don't need to say that, I whisper. I don't say things I don't mean, he replies, his voice firm despite its softness, especially not to someone who saved my life. I don't know how to respond to that, so I change the subject. How did you become king? I thought the old royal family died out, he finishes for me. They did, in the Great Plague. I was the closest male relative, through my mother's line. The council wasn't happy about it, especially when they found out what I am, but they had little choice. And they've been trying to get rid of you ever since? I guess. He gives a soft laugh that has no joy in it. So it seems. What about Sarah? Where are her parents? The king's voice grows sad. My sister and her husband. They were diplomats, sent to negotiate peace with Silvercrest. There was an accident. The way he says accident makes it clear he believes it was anything but. I'm sorry, I say, meaning it. She's all the family I have left, he says quietly, and I've been too sick to properly care for her these past months. Another failure. You're here now, I point out, and getting better. Thanks to you. Again, that warmth in my chest at his words. Try to sleep, I tell him. Healing works better when the body rests. As my healer commands, he says, and I can hear the smile in his voice. Later, when Sarah's breathing has gone deep and even, and Commander Thorne has nodded off despite her best efforts, I lie awake, watching the fire's last light play on the ceiling. My small house has never felt so full, or so much like a home. The king, I realize I don't even know his name, shifts in his sleep, murmuring something I can't make out. I should be afraid, having a Lycan under my roof. I should be worried about what will happen when the village finds out. Instead, I feel something I haven't felt in years. Purpose, connection, maybe even hope. Outside, an owl calls into the night. Inside, for the first time since my grandmother died, I don't feel alone. A week passes like the turning pages of a storybook. Each day follows the same pattern. I draw poison from the king's blood. He grows stronger, and Sarah follows me around the cottage, learning about herbs and healing. Commander Thorne comes and goes, bringing news from the castle and taking away the strange black poison I pull from the king's body. The royal alchemist is studying it. She tells me one evening as I hand her a small jar of the stuff. He says it's definitely silver, but mixed with something else, something that makes it spread and stay in the blood. Magic? I ask, washing my hands in the basin. She shrugs. Maybe. Or just clever poison making. Today marks the 7th day of the king's stay in my little home. I've learned his name is Rowan, though Commander Thorne still calls him Your Majesty, no matter how many times he asks her not to. I've also learned that he prefers honey in his tea, that he can whittle beautiful little animals from wood, and that when he laughs, really laughs, tiny crinkles appear around his golden eyes. Not that I've been watching him closely or anything. This morning, I wake to find him sitting at my table, bare-chested, as Sarah carefully puts healing salve on the places where I've drawn poison. There are 12 dark spots now, each the size of a small coin, scattered across his chest and back. Does it hurt, Uncle? She asks, her face serious with concentration. Not anymore, little star, he tells her. Thanks to your careful work. She beams with pride, then spots me. Mira, I'm being a healer like you. I smile, still not used to the way my name sounds in her small, happy voice, or the way Rowan's eyes find mine across the room, warm with something I don't dare name. You're doing very well, I tell her, joining them at the table. Those spots will heal faster with the salve. Rowan watches me as I check his wounds. How much poison is left? He asks. I place my hands on his chest, feeling the now familiar warmth of my power connecting with his body. The difference from a week ago is amazing. Where before I felt countless tiny stars of poison, now there are only a few stubborn bits near his heart. Almost gone, I tell him. Maybe one more day of drawing. He nods. I can feel the difference. My wolf is closer to the surface now, not fighting me anymore. Wolf? Sarah asks, eyes wide. Can I see? Rowan smiles at her. Not yet, little one, but soon, when I'm fully healed, I promise to show you. Will it be scary? She asks in a small voice. He touches her cheek gently. Never to you. My wolf knows his pack. Pack. The word hangs in the air between us. Is that what we've become these past days? A strange sort of pack? Later, as Sarah naps and Rowan sits by the window reading one of my grandmother's old books, I work in my small garden. The summer sun warms my back as I pull weeds and check my herbs. From inside, I can hear the soft sound of Rowan humming a tune I don't know. It's peaceful. It's nice. It's nothing like my life was just 8 days ago. Need help? Rowan's voice startles me. He stands in the doorway, watching me work. Should you be up? I ask, wiping dirt from my hands. He steps outside, the sun turning his dark hair almost blue-black. I've been in that bed for a week. I need to move. I nod, understanding. You can pull these weeds then. I point to a patch of stubborn dandelions. Just be careful not to disturb the mint next to them. He kneels beside me and we work in comfortable silence for a while. His hands are strong but gentle with the plants. Royal hands that have probably never gardened before. Tell me about yourself, he says suddenly. Not just about your healing or your mark. Tell me about Mira. I keep my eyes on the ground. There's not much to tell. I don't believe that. His voice is soft but firm. Everyone has a story. I sit back on my heels, thinking. I like to read. My grandmother had books, and sometimes I trade herbs for new ones from traveling merchants. I can speak a little of the old language. I'm good at finding wild honey. I can't sing very well, but I try when no one's around to hear. He smiles. See, that's something. What else? I dream of traveling someday, seeing the mountains to the north. The big lake they say is so wide you can't see the other side. I glance at him. What about you? What does a king do when he's not being kingly? Rowan laughs. Less than you might think. There are so many rules, so many eyes watching. But I ride when I can. I whittle, as you've seen. And I study the old ways, the Lycan history that humans have tried to erase. Is it hard? I ask. Being both human and wolf? He considers this, his hands stilling on the plants. Not when I'm in balance. It's like having two hearts beating as one. The wolf sees and feels things the human misses, scents, sounds, the pull of the moon. The human thinks and plans in ways the wolf cannot. Together, they make me whole. And when you were poisoned? His face darkens. It was like being torn in half, the wolf in agony, the human helpless to ease its pain. Without thinking, I reach out and touch his arm. I'm sorry. He covers my hand with his own. Don't be. Without that pain, I wouldn't have found you. My heart beats faster. I don't know what to say to that. Thankfully, Sarah's voice calls from inside, saving me from having to respond. Uncle Mira, I'm hungry. Rowan smiles, squeezing my hand once before letting go. Duty calls. That night, after Sarah is asleep, Rowan and I sit by the fire. The summer night is cool enough to make the small flames welcome. I work on grinding herbs for a sleeping draught, and he watches me, his golden eyes reflecting the firelight. Tomorrow I'll draw the last of the poison, I tell him. You'll be fully healed after that. And then what? He asks quietly. I look up, confused. Then You go back to being king, I suppose. And you go back to being alone? The question hangs between us. I hadn't thought that far ahead. Or maybe I hadn't wanted to. It's what I'm used to, I say finally, looking back at my herbs. It doesn't have to be. His voice is so gentle it almost breaks me. Come back with me, to the castle. I laugh, though there's no joy in it. A marked village witch in the royal castle? I can imagine how well that would go over with your fine lords and ladies. As the king's personal healer, he says. With royal protection, no one would dare treat you badly. I shake my head. Until the next time someone decides to poison you, and I'm the convenient scapegoat. He leans forward, taking the mortar and pestle from my hands and setting them aside. His fingers are warm as they lift my chin, forcing me to meet his gaze. I would never let anyone hurt you, he says, and I believe him. But I understand your fear. Trust comes hard when the world has been cruel. Something shifts inside me, a wall cracking, letting in light. It's not just fear, I admit softly. I don't know how to be around people anymore, how to belong. His thumb traces the edge of my mark, sending shivers through me. You belong with those who see you for who you are, not what they fear. And you see me? I whisper. His eyes, those inhuman golden eyes that should frighten me but never have, look straight into mine. From the first moment in the market square, I saw you, Mira. All of you. We're so close now. I can feel his breath on my face. My heart pounds so hard, I'm sure he can hear it with his wolf's ears. Then Sarah cries out in her sleep, a small sound of distress. We both pull back, the moment broken. Rowan sighs. She has nightmares. About her parents. I stand, gathering my composure. I'll check on her. Sarah settles quickly with a few soothing words and a gentle hand on her back. When I return to the fire, Rowan has moved to look out the window at the night sky. Full moon tomorrow, he says, without turning. Will you change? I ask. He nods. For the first time in months, I'll be able to. My wolf needs to run, to feel whole again. Will it be safe? With the poison only just gone? Now he turns, and I see something new in his face. Vulnerability. Uncertainty. Would you come with me? Help me if something goes wrong? The request surprises me. I don't know anything about Lycans or full moons. You know more than you think, he says. Your mark, your healing, they're connected to the old magic. The same magic that flows in Lycan blood. I touch my mark. My grandmother said something similar once, that our family was blessed by the moon many generations ago. Lunaphilia, Rowan says softly. Moon blessed. It's what my people would call you. Moon blessed. Not cursed, not marked, blessed. All right, I say. I'll come with you tomorrow night. His smile is like sunshine breaking through clouds. Thank you, Mira. Later, as I prepare for bed, I catch him watching me again. There's something in his gaze that makes me both nervous and excited. What? I ask. Just thinking how strange life is. He says, a week ago I was dying, trapped in my own body, surrounded by people who couldn't help me. Now I'm here, almost healed with... He stops. With? I prompt. His eyes hold mine. With someone who understands what it's like to be caught between worlds, to be seen as one thing when you're really another. The truth of his words hits me like a physical touch. That's exactly what it's been like all these years. Being seen as cursed when I was really blessed. As dangerous when I was really a healer. Yes, I say simply. I understand that. That's worth more than all the royal physicians and their fancy cures, he tells me. Understanding is its own kind of healing. As I lie in my makeshift bed that night, listening to Rowan's steady breathing from across the room, I realize something has changed inside me. The wall I built around my heart has cracks now, letting in feelings I've kept out for years. It should terrify me. Instead, it feels like the first warm day after a long winter. Tomorrow is the full moon. Tomorrow, Rowan will become the wolf, and I will see all of him at last. Tomorrow might be the last day he and Sarah stay in my little house at the forest's edge. But tonight, for this moment, we are here together, a strange little pack of our own making. And for the first time in forever, I don't feel like an outcast at all. The full moon rises big and bright, like a silver coin in the dark sky. I stand at the edge of the small clearing behind my house, wrapped in my warmest shawl. Sarah is back at the cottage, sleeping under Commander Thorne's watchful eye. It's just me and Rowan here, under the moon's glow. "Are you sure you want to see this?" Rowan asks. He stands 10 steps away from me, already stripped down to just his pants. His skin looks almost blue in the moonlight, the healing marks on his chest like small dark islands. "I'm sure," I tell him, though my heart beats fast with nerves. I've never seen a Lycan change before. I want to understand. He nods, takes a deep breath, and closes his eyes. For a moment, nothing happens. Then, his body starts to change. It's not scary or ugly like the village stories say. It's more like watching water flow or flowers bloom, a natural thing, happening the way it should. His body stretches, grows. Fur sprouts across his skin, silver black in the moonlight. His face changes last, nose and mouth pulling forward into a wolf's snout. Where Rowan stood, there is now a huge wolf, bigger than any normal wolf, with thick, dark fur and those same golden eyes. He shakes himself all over, like he's settling into his skin, then looks at me. I hold very still, not sure what to do. The wolf Rowan walks slowly toward me. His steps are careful, like he doesn't want to scare me. When he reaches me, he sits on his haunches and looks up at me with those knowing eyes. Slowly, I reach out my hand. He pushes his head against it, and I feel the soft fur of his ears. "Hello," I whisper, a smile growing on my face. "There you are." Rowan makes a soft sound, almost like a purr, then stands and circles me. His tail brushes against my legs as he moves. "Does it feel good? To be whole again?" I ask. He nods his big wolf head, and I laugh at how human the gesture looks on his wolf body. "Run," I tell him. "I know you need to. I'll wait here." He looks at me a moment longer, then turns and bounds into the forest. I catch glimpses of him through the trees, a shadow moving fast and free through the darkness. I sit on a fallen log and wait, looking up at the full moon. My mark feels warm in its light, almost glowing. Maybe there is truth to what Rowan said about being moon-blessed. Time passes. The night air grows colder. I pull my shawl tighter and think about heading back to check on Sarah. That's when I hear it crashing in the underbrush, too loud to be Rowan, too loud to be any normal forest animal. I stand, fear making my heart race. "Rowan," I call softly. No answer, just more crashing, coming closer. I start backing toward my cottage. Then I see them 3 men with torches, pushing through the trees. They wear the silver and black colors of Silvercrest, the neighboring kingdom that has been at war with Rowan's land for years. "There!" One of them points at me. "The witch the trackers told us about." I turn to run, but I'm not fast enough. A 4th man steps out from behind a tree, blocking my path. "Where is he?" the man demands. He's big, with a scar running down one side of his face. "Where's the Wolf King?" "I don't know what you're talking about," I say, trying to sound braver than I feel. The man grabs my arm, fingers digging in painfully. "Don't lie, witch. Our spies saw the king's guard coming and going from your house. We know he's here." "Let me go," I say, trying to pull away. He tightens his grip. "You're coming with us. The king will show himself if we have you." The other men circle around us. their torchlight making scary shadows dance across their faces. "The little girl too," one of them says. "She's his blood." Fear turns to something hot and fierce inside me. They want to take Sarah to hurt her, to use her to hurt Rowan. "No," I say, the word coming out stronger than I expected. The man with the scar laughs. "No, you don't get to say no, witch." My mark begins to burn, not painfully, but with power I've never felt before. It spreads down my neck, across my chest, through my whole body. I said no. My voice doesn't even sound like my own anymore. The men take a step back, eyes wide. One of them makes a sign against evil. "Her face," he whispers, "it's glowing. I can't see it, but I can feel it, my mark shining with the same silver light as the moon above." The scarred man tries to keep his grip on me, but yelps and lets go. Like my skin burned him. "Witch!" he spits, drawing a knife from his belt. Just then, a howl cuts through the night. Long, loud, and very close. "Rowan." The men look around nervously. "That sounded big," one of them says. "It's just a wolf," the scarred man snaps. "We have silver weapons. Grab the witch and let's go." But before any of them can move, something huge and dark launches from the trees. Rowan in his wolf form, bigger and more fearsome than he looked before. His teeth flash white in the torchlight as he lands between me and the men. The growl that comes from his throat makes the ground under my feet shake. Two of the men drop their torches and run. The third throws a knife that misses completely. The scarred man stands his ground, holding up a sword that gleams silver in the moonlight. "Just the beast we've been looking for," he says, though his voice shakes. Rowan's muscles bunch under his dark fur. He leaps. The scarred man swings his sword. I cry out in fear, but Rowan is too quick. He knocks the man down, sends the silver sword flying, and stands over him, jaws inches from the man's throat. The scarred man lies very still, eyes wide with fear. The last of his friends has disappeared into the forest. "Rowan," I say softly, "we need him alive to find out who sent them." The wolf's golden eyes flick to me, then back to the trembling man beneath his paws. For a long moment, I'm not sure if the human part of Rowan can hear me through the wolf's rage. Then, slowly, he steps back. The man remains frozen in fear. "Commander Thorne!" I call toward the cottage. "We need help." I hear running footsteps, and soon the commander appears, sword drawn. She takes in the scene with one quick look. "More of them at the cottage," she says. "They're tied up now. Sarah's safe." Relief floods through me. This one was going to take us, use us to get to Rowan. Commander Thorne's face hardens. She grabs the scarred man and pulls him to his feet. "You'll tell us everything," she says in a voice that would make anyone talk. As she marches him toward the cottage, Rowan comes to stand beside me. Even in wolf form, I can sense his worry. "I'm all right," I tell him, placing a hand on his massive shoulder. "And Sarah's safe. That's what matters." He leans against me, warm and solid. I feel myself shake now that the danger has passed. Tears fill my eyes, and I bury my face in his fur. "Thank you," I whisper, "for protecting us." His tongue licks my hand once, the gentlest touch. Then he looks toward the cottage, ears perked forward. "Yes," I say, understanding. "Let's go check on Sarah." Together, we walk back through the moonlit forest, the king in his true form, and me with my mark still glowing faintly. Different as we are, in this moment, we are perfectly matched, two beings of the in-between, finding strength in what others feared. Dawn breaks pink and gold over the forest. I sit on my front step, a cup of hot tea warming my hands. Inside, Sarah still sleeps, worn out from the scary night. Commander Thorne stands at the edge of the clearing, talking in low voices with the extra guards who arrived in the night after the attack. Rowan sits beside me, back in his human form and dressed in clean clothes the guards brought. His shoulder touches mine, a warm, solid weight that feels right somehow. "They were sent by Lord Various," he says quietly. The man admitted it after Commander Thorne questioned him. "Lord Various?" I ask. "Is he from Silvercrest?" Rowan shakes his head. "He's my own Lord Chancellor, the head of my royal council." I nearly spill my tea. "Your own council is trying to kill you?" "Not all of them, but Various has been working with Silvercrest for months, maybe years." His face looks tired but calm. "The prisoner told us everything. Various promised Silvercrest they could take over our lands once I was dead. They've been slowly poisoning me with silver while Silvercrest prepares for war. That's why they came here, I realize. They knew you were getting better." He nods. "And now I have proof of Various's treason. The kind of proof I can take to the full council." "So, what happens now?" I ask, looking at his face. In the early morning light, I can see every line around his eyes, the small scar on his chin, the way his dark hair falls across his forehead. "Now I have to go back," he says softly, "to the castle, to stop a war." Even though I knew this was coming, the words still hit me like a punch to the stomach. Of course he has to go. He's the king. His people need him. "When?" My voice comes out smaller than I meant it to. "Today, as soon as possible." He turns to look at me fully. "Come with me. You and Sarah both." For one wild moment, I imagine it living in a castle, sleeping in a real bed with soft sheets, never having to worry about food or firewood or angry villagers, being near Rowan every day. Then reality crashes back. I can't. "Why not?" He looks honestly confused. "I don't belong there," I say. "In a castle, with lords and ladies and servants. I'm a forest witch, remember? The marked one." "You're the woman who saved my life," Rowan counters. "The Lunaphilia, the one person who saw me at my weakest and didn't turn away. And what would your court think of that? Of me?" His jaw tightens. "I don't care what they think." "But you should," I tell him. "You're their king. You need their respect, especially now when you're fighting traitors." He's quiet for a long minute. I can tell he knows I'm right, even if he doesn't want to admit it. "What about Sarah?" he finally asks. That question hurts even more. In just 2 weeks, the little girl has wrapped herself around my heart like ivy around a tree. The thought of not seeing her bright smile or hearing her curious questions makes my chest ache. "She belongs with you," I say, though the words taste bitter. "She's your family, your blood. She loves you," he says simply. "And I love her," I admit. "But she needs to be where she's safe, where she can learn to be a proper lady." Rowan makes a sound that's half laugh, half sigh. "You think castle life is safer? After what we just learned about Various?" "You'll protect her," I say, believing it completely. "Like you protected us last night." He takes my hand, his fingers warm against mine. "And who will protect you, Mira? Those men knew where to find you. They knew about your connection to me." I hadn't thought about that. Fear flutters in my stomach. "I've managed on my own for years," I remind him, though with less confidence than before. "At least let me leave guards," he insists. "A few men stationed nearby, close enough to help if needed, far enough to give you your privacy." I want to argue, to prove I don't need help. But last night's attack is still too fresh. The memory of that man grabbing my arm, threatening Sarah, makes me nod. "All right. Guards nearby would be good." His shoulders relax a little. "Thank you. And I'll send Commander Thorne to check on you regularly." "You trust her that much?" I ask. "With my life," he says simply, "and with yours." We sit in silence for a while, watching the sun climb higher in the sky. Birds sing in the trees. It feels peaceful, but I can sense the change coming like you can feel a storm in the air before the first clouds appear. "I should wake Sarah," I finally say. Help her get ready to go. Rowan nods but doesn't move. Mira, whatever he was going to say, gets cut off as Commander Thorne approaches. Your Majesty, she says with a small bow. The men are ready when you are. The carriage is waiting on the main road. Rowan stands, suddenly every inch the king again. Prepare to leave within the hour. I need to speak with Sarah first. Commander Thorne nods and walks away. Rowan looks down at me, his golden eyes unreadable. This isn't goodbye, he says firmly. I will come back. I try to smile. You have a kingdom to run, a war to stop. Don't make promises you can't keep. He kneels in front of me, so our eyes are level. Listen to me. 2 weeks ago, I was dying, lost in pain, with no hope left. You saved me. You showed me kindness when I had known only politics and plots. Do you really think I could forget that? Forget you? My eyes fill with tears. I blink them away quickly. Kings don't visit forest healers. That's not how stories go. Maybe it's time for a new kind of story, he says softly. Inside, we hear Sarah's voice calling for us. The moment breaks like a bubble popping. Go, I tell him, standing up. She needs you now. Telling Sarah she's leaving is the hardest thing I've done in years. Her small face crumples. Her eyes fill with tears, and she throws her arms around my waist. I don't want to go, she wails. I want to stay with you. I kneel down and hug her tight. Oh, sweetie, I want that too. But you need to go with your uncle. He needs you. You can come too, she says, hiccuping through her tears. Uncle Rowan said you could. I smooth her hair back from her face. My place is here, little one, helping people who need healing. But I need you, she says, her lower lip trembling. My heart feels like it's breaking into tiny pieces, and I need you. But sometimes we have to be apart from people we love for a while. How long is a while? She asks. I look up at Rowan, who watches us with a face full of sadness. I don't know. I tell her honestly. Rowan steps forward and picks Sarah up. She buries her face in his shoulder but keeps one hand stretched out to me. I take it, squeezing gently. We'll write to you, Rowan promises, every week. And maybe when things are settled. He doesn't finish. We both know the future is too uncertain for promises. The next hour passes in a blur, packing Sarah's few things, helping her choose which of my herbs to take with her for healing practice, showing her how to dry flowers to put in letters. Too soon, Commander Thorne tells us it's time. 6 guards in royal colors wait outside. I walk with Rowan and Sarah to the edge of the clearing where the forest path begins. Remember to water the mint every day, Sarah tells me seriously, and feed the birds. I will, I promise, trying to smile through my tears. And don't forget to check on Mr. Jensen's knee, she continues. And, Sarah, Rowan interrupts gently, we need to go now. She looks up at him, then back at me. With a small cry, she throws herself into my arms one last time. I love you, Mira, she whispers. I love you too, little star. I whisper back, using Rowan's special name for her. Rowan sets a hand on her shoulder. Go with Commander Thorne to the road, Sarah. I'll be right behind you. She nods, gives me one more squeeze, then takes the commander's outstretched hand. I watch them walk down the path until they disappear around a bend. Rowan and I face each other. There's so much I want to say, but no words come. He steps forward and takes both my hands in his. Mira, my healer, my lunaphilia, my king, I say, trying to make it sound light, but my voice cracks. No, he says firmly, not your king, just Rowan. The man who he stops, takes a breath. The man who found himself again because of you? And then he leans down and kisses me. His lips are warm and gentle on mine, and for a moment the whole world disappears. There is only this, his hands holding mine, his mouth on mine, the scent of him like forests and spice. The kiss ends too soon. He pulls back just enough to rest his forehead against mine. "Wait for me," he whispers. "Please." I can't speak, can only nod. With one last look, he turns and follows the path where Sarah and Commander Thorne went. I stand there until I can't hear his footsteps anymore. Slowly, I walk back to my cottage. It looks smaller now, emptier. I stand in the doorway, seeing the ghost of Sarah playing on the floor, of Rowan sitting at my table, of the three of us eating dinner together like a real family. The silence wraps around me like a heavy blanket. I am alone again. I make myself move. There are herbs to tend, potions to brew. The village still needs their healer, marked or not. Days pass, then weeks. Summer fades into early fall. The leaves turn gold and red, then drop from the trees. Mornings bring frost that melts by noon. Commander Thorne visits every 10 days, bringing letters from Sarah, full of drawings and stories of castle life. There are short notes from Rowan, 2 formal words about how he is well, how he hopes I am well, how Sarah misses me. What he doesn't write about is the war. But I can see it in Commander Thorne's tired eyes, in the new scar on her arm, in the way she looks over her shoulder more often. "How bad is it?" I ask her one day as she prepares to leave. She hesitates, then sighs. "Bad. Silvercrest crossed our borders 2 weeks ago. Lord Various escaped before we could arrest him. Now he leads their armies." My heart clenches with worry. "And the king?" "Fighting," she says simply. "Leading our troops, being the king we need." "And Sarah?" "Safe in the mountain fortress, with the other royal children." She gives me a small smile. "Still asking about you every day." I nod, trying not to show how much I miss them both. Tell her I'm growing a special garden of healing herbs just for her. For when she visits, if she ever visits, if any of them do. Commander Thorne mounts her horse. "He hasn't forgotten you," she says suddenly. "The king, even in the middle of war, he asks about you when we speak alone." Then she rides away, leaving me standing in my doorway, 1,000 questions on my tongue and a hollow ache in my chest, where 2 people carved out a place I didn't know was empty until they filled it. That night, I stand under the stars and touch my mark, wondering if Rowan is looking at the same sky, if Sarah is dreaming peaceful dreams, if there will ever come a day when we 3 are together again. The full moon shines down, turning the world silver. My mark warms under its light. "Bring them back to me," I whisper to the moon, "or show me how to let them go." The first snow falls early, covering the forest in white silence. It's been 3 months since Rowan and Sarah left. 3 months of letters, of Commander Thorne's visits, of listening for news of the war. Today I'm gathering pine needles for a cough medicine. Winter brings sickness, and the village needs their healer more than ever, even if some still cross their fingers when they see my mark. As I work, I notice fresh tracks in the snow, too big for a rabbit, too small for a deer. Wolf tracks. I freeze, remembering the night Rowan changed under the full moon, how beautiful and wild he looked in his wolf form. But this isn't Rowan, just a regular wolf, hunting in the winter forest. I finish gathering and head home, my breath making white clouds in the cold air. The guards Rowan left are still nearby, living in a small camp just out of sight of my cottage. They check on me twice a day, more if the weather is bad. I've gotten used to their presence, even grateful for it when rumors of Silvercrest scouts reach the village. My cottage looks cozy as I approach, smoke curling from the chimney where I left a fire burning. Inside, it's warm and smells of herbs and wood smoke, but empty. Always empty now. I hang my cloak by the door and put the pine needles in a clay bowl to dry. There's bread to bake, potions to brew, a tear in my winter dress to mend. Plenty to keep my hands busy, if not my heart. A knock at the door makes me jump. It's early for the evening guard check. Who is it? I call, suddenly wary. Mira? It's me. My heart stops, then races. I know that voice. I throw open the door. Commander Thorne stands there, snow dusting her shoulders. But it's who stands behind her that makes me gasp. Sarah, bundled in a fur-lined cloak, her face thinner than I remember but her eyes bright as stars. Mira, she cries, launching herself at me. I catch her, nearly falling backward with the force of her hug. She's grown at least an inch since summer, and her arms squeeze my neck so tight I can hardly breathe. Sarah, I whisper, burying my face in her hair. She smells of castle soap and winter air, and something that is just her sweet and bright. What are you doing here? How? Uncle sent us, she says, pulling back just enough to see my face. He said I needed to be somewhere safe, somewhere with you. I look up at Commander Thorne, questions flooding my mind. Her face is grim, with new lines around her eyes and a half-healed cut on her cheek. May we come in? She asks. There's much to tell, and it's not all good news. My stomach drops, but I nod and step aside. Sarah keeps one hand firmly in mine, like she's afraid I'll disappear if she lets go. Inside, Commander Thorne removes her snow-covered cloak. She looks thinner too, and there's a tiredness in her that wasn't there before. The king? I ask, afraid of the answer. Alive? She says quickly, seeing my fear. But the war goes badly. Silvercrest forces pushed past our border defenses last week. Lord Various leads them, with knowledge of all our weaknesses. Where is Rowan now? I ask, relief at his being alive, mixing with new worry. At the Winter Palace, gathering what forces he can. She looks at Sarah, who is showing me a small wooden wolf carving Rowan made for her. The mountain fortress where the royal children were staying was attacked 3 days ago. We got them out just in time. My arms tighten around Sarah without thinking. They attacked children? Commander Thorne's face darkens. Various knows that the royal bloodline is important to our people. He aims to end it completely. So Rowan sent Sarah here. Why not keep her with him at the Winter Palace? Because everyone knows she'd be with him. Commander Thorne explains. No one would think to look for her in a forest healer's cottage. And she hesitates. And, I prompt, and he trusts you more than anyone at court, she says simply. His exact words were, take her to Mira. There's no one in the kingdom who will fight harder to keep her safe. Warmth spreads through me at his words, quickly followed by fear. If Rowan is sending Sarah to me, things must be very bad indeed. How long will she stay? I ask. Commander Thorne shakes her head. I don't know. Until it's safe. Until the war turns in our favor. Which could be never, her face seems to say. She stays only long enough to bring in Sarah's things, a small trunk of clothes, books, and toys, and to give me a purse heavy with gold coins. From the king, she says when I try to refuse it. For Sarah's care and yours. Winter is hard in the forest. I can't argue with that. My herb stores are already low, and feeding two will stretch them thinner. When will you return? I ask, as she prepares to leave. When I can. The roads are dangerous now. She kneels in front of Sarah. Be good for Mira. Remember what your uncle said. Sarah nods solemnly. To be brave. To stay hidden. To practice my letters. Commander Thorne smiles and ruffles her hair. That's right, little princess. After she leaves, Sarah and I look at each other. 3 months apart have changed us both. She's taller, her face less round. I see shadows in her eyes that weren't there before. She's seen too much for her 6 years. Are you hungry? I ask. She nods. Can we make soup like before? With the orange vegetables? Carrots, I say with a smile. Yes, we can make carrot soup. That night, Sarah sleeps in my bed while I take the small cot by the fire. In the darkness, I hear her small voice. Mira, are you awake? Yes, little star. Is Uncle going to die? The question hits me like a punch. I get up and go to the bed, sitting beside her small shape under the blankets. No, I say firmly, though I have no right to make such a promise. Your uncle is strong and smart, and he has good people helping him. Lord Various was supposed to be good too, she says. He gave me candy and told me stories, but he was bad all along. I smooth her hair back from her forehead. Sometimes people pretend to be good when they're not, but your uncle really is good and brave, and he loves you very much. He loves you too, she says, her voice getting sleepy. He told me so. My heart jumps. Did he? He said you have his heart. I don't know what that means, but he looked sad when he said it. I have no answer for that. I sit with her until she falls asleep, her breathing deep and even. Outside, the snow falls harder, covering our tracks, hiding us from the world. Days pass, then weeks. Sarah settles into life in the cottage as if she never left. She helps me gather herbs, learns to bake bread, and sits for hours drawing pictures to send to Rowan when we can. The guards check on us every day, bringing news when they have it, which isn't often. The war continues. Villages near the border are burned. The Winter Palace holds, but barely. No word comes from Commander Thorne. No letters from Rowan. The roads are too dangerous now, the guards tell us. No messengers can get through. Winter deepens. The snow piles higher around the cottage. We burn extra wood to keep warm. At night, Sarah and I curl together in the big bed, sharing stories and body heat. Tell me again about the first time you met Uncle, she asks one snowy evening. I smile, remembering the market, those golden eyes finding mine across the crowd. I was picking herbs. He was passing through with his guards. Our eyes met, and I ran away. Because you were scared? She asks. Because I felt something I didn't understand, I tell her honestly. Something big and important. It was easier to run than to face it. She thinks about this. But then he came here, and you helped him. Yes. And I wasn't scared anymore. Because you loved him, she says with a child's simple certainty. I don't confirm or deny it. Love is a big word, too big, maybe for what grew between Rowan and me in those 2 short weeks. But at night, when Sarah sleeps, I touch my lips and remember his kiss. I look at the moon and wonder if he's looking too. I dream of golden eyes and strong hands, and a voice saying, "Wait for me." The winter solstice comes, the longest night of the year. In the village, people celebrate with fires and sweet bread, but Sarah and I stay in our cottage. It's safer that way. No one knows she's here except the guards, and I want to keep it that way. I'm making a special dinner rabbit stew with dried berries when the warning bell rings. It's a small bell the guards hung in the trees, meant to signal danger without making too much noise. I freeze, then rush to grab Sarah from where she plays on the floor. Remember the hiding place I showed you? I whisper. Under the floorboards by the hearth? She nods, eyes wide with fear. Go there now. Don't come out until I call the special word. Moonflower, she whispers. That's right. Go now, quickly. She scrambles to the loose floorboard, pulls it up, and slips into the dark space beneath. I replace the board and throw a rug over it, just as a hard knock sounds at the door. My heart pounds. The guards never knock like that, 3 sharp raps instead of their usual 2 gentle ones. I grab a kitchen knife and hide it in the folds of my skirt before opening the door just a crack. A man in fine clothes stands there, flanked by 2 soldiers in silver crest colors. My blood turns cold. Good evening, the man says with a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. I'm looking for a healer. My men are injured. I keep my face blank. I'm a healer, yes, but I have few supplies for battle wounds. We'll take what you have, he says. His eyes drift to my mark, and his smile falters. You're the witch they speak of in the village, the one with the moon mark. I say nothing. Interesting, he murmurs. May we come in? It's terribly cold out here. Every instinct screams at me to slam the door, but the soldiers look ready for that. They would break it down in seconds. Of course, I say, stepping back. Though, as you see, my home is small. The man enters, looking around with sharp eyes. Cozy, he says. And you live here alone? Yes. I lie. Just me. He hums, walking slowly around the main room. His eyes linger on the 2 bowls on the table, the small trunk partly visible under the bed, the child-sized boots by the door. You have company? He asks lightly. I treat many patients, I say. Children included. Of course. He turns to me fully now. In the firelight, I can see the scar on his face. My heart nearly stops. It's the same man from the forest that night, the one Rowan nearly killed. And where are these patients now? Gone home, I say. Before the snow got worse. He smiles that cold smile again. I don't think so. I think you're hiding something. Or someone. The soldiers move to flank me, their hands on their sword hilts. Search the place, the scarred man orders. Find the child. Terror grips me, but also something else rage. Pure, hot rage that this man would threaten a child. That he would come into my home, looking for someone to hurt. There is no child here, I say, my voice steady despite my fear. Don't lie to me, witch, he snaps. We know the king's niece was brought here. Our spies saw her. As the soldiers begin to tear apart my home, looking under the bed, in the cupboards, behind curtains, I feel my mark begin to warm. The same warmth I felt in the forest when they threatened us before, but stronger now, fed by 3 months of worry and love and determination to keep Sarah safe. Stop, I say, and my voice echoes strangely in the small room. The men pause, looking at me. The scarred man's eyes widen. Her mark, one soldier whispers. It's glowing, and I can feel it heat spreading from my face down my neck, across my chest, into my very blood. The knife in my hand feels like it's burning, but it doesn't hurt. Leave my home, I tell them, taking a step forward. Now, the scarred man laughs, but it sounds nervous. Kill her, he tells his men. Then find the child. As the soldiers draw their swords, something inside me breaks open. Power rushes through me, like the night I healed Rowan but 100 times stronger. My vision turns silver white at the edges. You will not touch her, I say, and the words seem to hang in the air, glowing like the mark on my face. The soldiers hesitate, fear plain on their faces. One of them backs toward the door. Cowards, the scarred man shouts. He draws his own sword, silver bright in the firelight, and lunges at me. I don't think, I just act. My hand comes up, still holding the kitchen knife. But it's not the knife that stops him. It's the wave of force that blasts from my palm, sending him flying backward into the wall. He hits hard, his sword clattering to the floor. The soldiers stare in horror, then turn and run, fleeing into the snowy night. The scarred man struggles to his feet, eyes wide with fear and hate. What are you? He gasps. I step toward him, my mark burning like a star. I am Lunaphilia, I say, the words coming from somewhere deep inside me. Moon-blessed, healer, protector. He scrambles for the door, no longer the confident man who entered minutes ago. This isn't over, witch, he spits. Lord Various will hear of this. Tell him, I say calmly. Tell him what happens when someone threatens my family. After he's gone, I bar the door and sink to the floor, shaking with the aftermath of power and fear. My mark still glows faintly, lighting the dim room. Moonflower, I call softly. The floorboard moves, and Sarah's small face appears, eyes huge in the silver light from my mark. Mira? She whispers. Are they gone? I nod, opening my arms to her. She climbs into my lap, holding me tight. You were so bright, she says in wonder, like the moon came down inside you. I stroke her hair, my heart still racing. I don't know what happened. I just knew I had to keep you safe. She touches my mark gently. Uncle said you were special, that you had old magic in your blood, magic that could help him, help all Lycans. I think about the wave of power that threw a grown man across the room, about the glow that scared battle-hardened soldiers into running. We need to leave, I say suddenly. It's not safe here anymore. They know about you now. Sarah nods against my shoulder. Where will we go? I look around the cottage that has been my home in prison for so many years. I think about Rowan fighting a losing war, about the power that just flowed through me, power I never knew I had. To the Winter Palace, I say. To your uncle, I think. I think I might be able to help him after all. Sarah pulls back, hope brightening her face. Really? We're going to find Uncle Rowan? Yes, little star, I say, making the decision final. It's time to stop hiding and start fighting back. As we hurriedly pack what we can carry, I look at my hands, still faintly glowing with silver light. I am not just a healer with a strange mark anymore. I am something more, something I don't fully understand yet, but something strong enough to protect what I love. And what I love is currently packing her favorite wooden animals into a small bag, chattering about seeing her uncle again. What I love is a golden-eyed king fighting for his people. What I love is worth risking everything for. Outside, the winter night is dark, but the moon is rising. Its light catches on the snow, turning the world silver, like a path showing us the way. Snow crunches under our horses' hooves as we make our way through the mountain pass. It's been 6 days since we left my cottage, traveling with the 4 guards who stayed loyal when the scarred man came. Sarah rides with me. Bundled in so many furs, she looks like a small bear. Her arms are tight around my waist, her face pressed against my back to block the biting wind. Are we nearly there? She asks, her voice muffled by layers of cloth. Soon, I tell her, though I'm not sure it's true. I've never been to the Winter Palace before. I only know it's hidden high in the mountains, a 3-day ride from my forest home. But the heavy snow has slowed us down, and the guards have taken us on side paths to avoid Silvercrest patrols. Captain Lorne, the head of our small group, rides up beside us. Frost clings to his beard, making him look older than his 30 years. There's a storm coming, he says, looking at the dark clouds gathering ahead. We need to find shelter soon. I nod, pulling my cloak tighter around Sarah and me. How much farther to the palace? Half a day in good weather, he says, but in a storm. He shakes his head. My heart sinks. We're so close, yet so far. There's a way station just ahead, Captain Lorne continues. Royal guards use it when traveling this route. We can wait out the storm there. An hour later, we reach a small stone building nestled against the mountainside. It's plain but solid, with thick walls to keep out the cold, and a chimney that promises warmth inside. The guards move quickly, taking the horses to the small stable at the back, while Captain Lorne helps Sarah and me inside. The main room is simple, a fireplace, a table with benches, and pallets for sleeping along the walls. It's not much. Captain Lorne apologizes as he starts a fire in the hearth. But it's safe. Sarah runs to the fire, holding out her small hands to the growing flames. It's perfect, she declares, like a secret hideout. I smile at her ability to find joy even in our difficult journey. 6 years old and braver than many grown men. The other guards bring in our packs, and the food we have left: dried meat, hard bread, a few wrinkled apples. Not a feast, but enough to keep us going. As night falls, the storm hits with full force. Wind howls around the stone walls, snow piles against the door, and the temperature drops so low we can see our breath even near the fire. Sarah falls asleep early, worn out from the long day of riding. I tuck her into a sleeping pallet near the fire. brushing dark hair from her forehead. In sleep, the worry leaves her small face. She looks like the carefree child she should be, not a princess fleeing from those who would harm her. I join the guards at the table, where they speak in low voices about the war. "How bad is it, truly?" I ask Captain Lorne. "No one would tell us much in the forest." He sighs, running a hand through his graying hair. "Bad. Silvercrest has taken the eastern provinces. 3 major towns burned to the ground. The royal army is outnumbered, and with winter here." He trails off. "And the king?" I try to keep my voice steady, but the captain gives me a knowing look. "Fighting," he says, "leading from the front, as always." But the last report said they were pushed back to the Winter Palace itself. They're under siege now. Fear grips my heart. Under siege? Then how will we get in? "There are ways," he assures me. "Secret tunnels built long ago for just this purpose. If we can reach the north face without being seen, we can get you inside." "And if we can't?" He doesn't answer, but his face tells me enough. I try to sleep, but worry keeps me awake. I think of Rowan fighting for his life, his kingdom, of Sarah, who has already lost so much, of my own strange power, growing stronger each day since it first showed itself. My mark tingles as I touch it, warm even in the cold night. Whatever is happening to me, whatever this power means, I hope it's enough to help when we reach the palace. If we reach the palace, morning comes with blessed quiet. The storm has passed. Outside, the world is transformed into a glittering white landscape under a clear blue sky. The snow is deep, up to the horse's knees in places, but at least we can see the path ahead. "We need to move quickly," Captain Lorne says as we prepare to leave. The clear weather works for us, but also for our enemies. Within the hour, we're back on the trail, climbing higher into the mountains. Sarah is more awake today, pointing out animal tracks in the snow and asking the names of peaks we pass. Near midday, we crest a ridge and get our first view of the Winter Palace. It takes my breath away. Built from pale stone that shines golden in the sun, it rises from the mountainside like it grew there naturally. Towers and walls follow the contours of the peak, with large windows facing south to catch the winter light. But my wonder quickly turns to dread. Below the palace, spreading out across the valley floor, is an army. Hundreds of tents dot the snow like dark insects. Siege engines point toward the palace walls. And above it all, the black and silver banners of Silvercrest. There! Captain Lorne points to the north side of the palace, the part built highest on the peak. That's where the hidden entrance is. If we follow this ridge east, then circle back, we might reach it undetected. It looks impossible to me, a sheer rock face with no visible path. But I've come too far to turn back now. "Let's go," I say. The next hours are the hardest of our journey. We leave the horses hidden in a grove of pine trees and continue on foot, climbing steep paths barely wide enough for a mountain goat. Sarah is too small for the difficult terrain, so the guards take turns carrying her on their backs. The sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the snow. The temperature drops rapidly. "We need to hurry," Captain Lorne urges. "We don't want to be caught out here after dark." Just as the light fades to a deep blue, we reach a narrow ledge beneath the palace walls. There's nothing here that looks like an entrance, just solid stone rising 50 feet above us. "Are you sure this is the place?" I ask, teeth chattering with cold. Captain Lorne nods and begins feeling along the rock face. "The entrance is hidden. You have to know exactly where to look." Minutes pass. Sarah huddles against me, shivering despite her layers of furs. The other guards keep watch, hands on their sword hilts, eyes scanning the darkening mountainside below. Then Captain Lorne makes a satisfied sound. Here, he presses something in the rock, and a section of the wall slides open just enough for a person to slip through. Relief floods me. Thank the stars, I breathe. We file in quickly, and Captain Lorne seals the entrance behind us. We're in a narrow tunnel, lit by strange blue stones, set into the ceiling. Not fire, but some kind of magic that gives off cool light and no heat. Lycan magic, Captain Lorne explains when he sees me looking at the stones. From the old days, before humans feared us. Us? I ask, surprised. He smiles, and for a brief moment, his eyes flash gold in the blue light. Not all Lycans have royal blood, healer. Some of us serve those who do. The tunnel slopes upward, winding its way through the mountain heart. After what feels like hours of walking, we reach a heavy wooden door banded with iron. Captain Lorne knocks in a specific pattern, 3 fast, 2 slow, 3 fast again. Silence follows. Then a small opening in the door slides back, and eyes peer out at us. Captain Lorne? A voice whispers. We thought you lost in the forest. Not lost, he replies, just delayed. I bring visitors for the king. The opening slides shut, and we hear the sound of bolts being drawn back. The door swings open to reveal a guard station with 5 armed soldiers, all looking battle-worn and weary. Their faces show surprise when they see Sarah, and outright shock when they notice my mark. The princess, one murmurs, dropping to one knee. The others quickly follow. Sarah, exhausted and cold, just blinks at them. Where's my uncle? She asks in a small voice. One guard rises and bows to her. In the war room, Your Highness. Planning tomorrow's defense. Take us to him, I say, finding confidence I didn't know I had. Now, the guard looks uncertain, glancing at my marked face. And you are? Mira. Sarah answers for me, taking my hand. She's the healer who saved Uncle Rowan. She has moon magic. The guards exchange looks I can't read, but the leader nods. Follow me. We walk through stone corridors, lit by proper torches now. Despite the siege, the palace inside looks untouched by war tapestries line the walls. Thick carpets cover the floors, and gilded mirrors reflect the torchlight. It's more grand than anything I've ever seen, and I feel wildly out of place in my travel-stained clothes and tangled hair. Sarah, though, walks with her head high, like she belongs here. Which, of course, she does. The guard leads us to a pair of large wooden doors with iron hinges. 2 more guards stand outside, looking alert despite the late hour. The princess has returned, our guide announces, and she brings a healer. The door guards stare at my mark but say nothing as they open the doors. Inside is a large room dominated by a table covered in maps, small figures representing troops, and what looks like battle plans. A dozen people stand around it, arguing in low, tense voices. At the head of the table stands Rowan. My breath catches. He looks different, thinner, with new lines around his eyes and mouth. His dark hair is longer now, tied back from his face. He wears no crown or fancy clothes, just a simple shirt and pants. But even dressed plainly, there's no mistaking his authority. The others look to him when he speaks, quiet when he raises a hand for silence. He hasn't seen us yet. He's focused on the map before him, pointing to something as he speaks to a gray-haired man in armor. Then Sarah pulls away from me and runs forward. "Uncle!" she cries, her voice ringing through the room. Every head turns. Conversations stop mid-word, and Rowan, his face transforms completely. Shock, then joy, then a flash of fear cross his features in rapid succession. "Sarah?" he whispers, like he can't believe his eyes. She runs straight to him. He drops to one knee and catches her in a fierce hug, lifting her off her feet as he stands again. His eyes close for a moment, his face buried in her hair. "How are you here?" he asks, pulling back to look at her. "You should be at the forest." He stops as his eyes find me standing in the doorway. The room goes completely still. "Mira," he breathes. I take a step forward, suddenly unsure. This is not the Rowan I knew in my cottage. This is King Rowan, surrounded by his war council, in the middle of a desperate battle for his kingdom. But then he sets Sarah down gently and crosses the room in long strides. Before I can think what to say, he pulls me into his arms, holding me so tight it nearly hurts. "You're here," he whispers against my hair. "You're really here." I let myself lean into him for just a moment, breathing in his familiar scent of forest and spice, feeling the strength in his arms. Then I remember where we are, who is watching, and pull back. "We had to come," I tell him. "Silvercrest soldiers found us at the cottage. They were looking for Sarah." His face darkens. "Are you hurt, either of you?" "No," I say, "but something happened when they attacked. Something with my mark." He studies my face, his golden eyes tracing the lines of the mark that curves from my temple to my neck. "What kind of something?" Before I can answer, the gray-haired man from the table steps forward. "Your Majesty, perhaps this conversation should happen in private. The War Council can resume in the morning." Rowan nods. "Thank you, General." He turns to the others. "We're done for tonight. Get some rest." As the council members file out, many giving me curious or suspicious glances, Rowan keeps one hand on my arm, like he's afraid I'll disappear if he lets go. When the room is empty except for us, Sarah, and 2 guards by the door, Rowan finally speaks again. "Tell me everything," he says. I do. I tell him about the months after he left, about Commander Thorne's visits, about Sarah arriving just before winter. I tell him about the scarred man finding us, about the power that surged through me when he threatened Sarah. "It was like when I healed you," I explain, "but stronger, much stronger." My mark glowed, and I could feel something flowing through me, like moonlight turned to lightning. Rowan listens intently, his eyes never leaving my face. When I finish, he turns to the guards at the door. "Bring Lord Kai," he orders, "now." One guard hurries out. Rowan leads Sarah and me to chairs near a small fire burning in a hearth at the side of the room. Sarah climbs into his lap immediately, her small body relaxing as he wraps an arm around her. "You look tired," I tell him softly. He gives me a small smile. "War will do that." "Are you losing?" I ask directly, needing to know. His smile fades. "Yes." Various knows our every weakness, every secret passage, every supply line. And he has a new weapon, silver bombs that poison any Lycan caught in the blast. We've lost 1/3 of our forces to them. My heart sinks. Is there no way to counter the silver? Before he can answer, the doors open again. A tall man with silver-white hair enters, moving with the fluid grace that marks him as Lycan. Unlike Rowan, his eyes are silver instead of gold, though they glow with the same inhuman light. "You called for me, Your Majesty?" he asks, then stops when he sees me. His strange silver eyes widen. "Lunaphilia," he breathes, using the same word Rowan once called me. Rowan nods. "Lord Kai, this is Mira, the healer I told you about." "Mira, this is Lord Kai, historian of the Northern Pacts and keeper of the old knowledge." Lord Kai approaches slowly, his eyes fixed on my mark. "May I?" he asks, raising a hand toward my face. I nod, though I'm not sure what he's asking permission for. His fingers hover near my mark without touching, and his eyes close. I feel a strange tingling, like when Rowan first touched my mark all those months ago. Lord Kai's eyes open, and he looks at Rowan with what can only be described as awe. "It's true, the line wasn't broken, the blessing continues." "In plain words, Kai," Rowan says, a hint of impatience in his voice, for those of us who didn't spend 50 years studying ancient texts. Lord Kai bows slightly. "Forgive me, Your Majesty. What I mean is that this woman carries the blood blessing of the Moon Mother, the original gifter of the Lycan transformation. Her line was thought lost 300 years ago during the Great Purge. And what does that mean? I ask. For me? For what's happening with my mark? Lord Kai looks at me with those strange silver eyes. It means, healer Mira, that you may be the one hope we have left. The legends say that when the Lycan nation faces its darkest hour, the Lunaphilia will return to restore balance between human and wolf, between silver and gold, between what was lost and what might yet be. Rowan's arm tightens around Sarah. Is she the one in the prophecy then? The one who walks between worlds? Lord Kai nods. I believe she is. I look between them, lost. What prophecy? What are you talking about? Rowan meets my eyes, and I see something there I've never seen before. Hope, bright and fierce. You once asked me if I believed in fate, Mira. I think we're about to find out. 5 years pass like the turning of seasons, each one bringing new growth and change. Today, I stand on the large stone balcony of the summer palace, watching children play in the gardens below. The spring flowers are in full bloom, painting the world in colors so bright they almost hurt your eyes after the long white winter. Sira, now 11, leads a group of younger children in a circle, dance around the old oak tree. Her dark hair flies behind her as she spins, her laugh carrying up to where I stand. She wears a simple blue dress instead of the fancy clothes many royal children prefer. Her feet are bare despite the palace rules about proper footwear. Some habits from our cottage days never faded. Your Majesty? A soft voice calls from behind me. I turn to see a young woman with a mark similar to mine, curving along her jawline. Lisa is one of my newest students, still shy about her gift and the mark that shows it to the world. How many times must I tell you? I say with a smile. In the healing quarters, I'm just your teacher. She straightens a little, though her eyes still don't quite meet mine. The new patient has arrived from the southern village. His change is not going well. I nod, understanding what she means. Even 5 years after the war ended, we still find young Lycans who struggle with their first transformation. The silver poison that Lord Various used has lingering effects, passing from parents to children. Let's go help him, I say, touching her shoulder gently. Together, as we walk through the palace halls, servants and nobles bow their heads respectfully. It still feels strange sometimes, this deference. For so many years, people crossed the street to avoid coming near me. Now they seek my blessing, touch my sleeve for luck, bring their children to me for healing. The healing wing of the palace is my domain, a place of quiet voices and gentle hands. Large windows let in plenty of light, and the walls are painted soft green to remind patients of growing things. The scent of herbs hangs in the air, familiar and comforting. In the main treatment room, a boy of about 13 lies on a bed, his body shaking with the effort of fighting his transformation. His parents hover nearby, worry etched on their faces. Rowan is already there, sitting beside the boy and speaking in low, calming tones. My husband, my mate, in Lycan terms, has never forgotten what it felt like to be caught between forms. He makes time, despite his duties as king, to visit every young Lycan struggling with their first change. He looks up when I enter, and his face softens the way it always does when he sees me. 5 years of marriage has not dimmed the light in his golden eyes when they meet mine. Ah, here she is, he tells the boy, the best healer in all the kingdoms. I sit on the boy's other side, placing my hand over his racing heart. What's your name? I ask. Tomas, he whispers through clenched teeth. His skin ripples with half-formed fur that appears, then disappears. Tell me what you feel, Tomas, I say, letting my mark warm as I connect with his pain. Like I'm being pulled apart, he gasps. Like I don't know if I'm human or wolf or nothing at all. I understand, I tell him, meaning it completely. I once felt that way too, caught between worlds, belonging nowhere. Rowan's eyes meet mine over the boy's trembling form. He knows this truth about me, just as I know the deepest truths about him. We are both beings of the in-between, not quite fitting in the boxes the world wants to put us in. I place both hands on Tomas now, one over his heart, the other on his forehead. Breathe with me, I instruct, slow and deep. As he follows my breathing, I let my power flow into him, that silver moon energy that once frightened me, but now feels as natural as the blood in my veins. My mark glows softly, casting gentle light across the boy's face. The wolf is not your enemy, I tell him as my power soothes the jagged edges where human and wolf fight within him. It's part of you, a gift from the moon herself. Don't fight it, dance with it. Slowly, the boy's shaking stops, his breathing evens out. The painful rippling beneath his skin calms into smooth transitions, human to wolf and back again, a gentle tide instead of a violent storm. There, I murmur as his eyes drift closed in exhausted sleep. The first change is always the hardest. It will be easier next time. His parents thank us with tears in their eyes. Like many families, they traveled for days to reach us, having heard of the healing queen who understands the silver sickness. After they leave to rest in the guest quarters, Rowan takes my hand. You saved another one, he says softly. We saved him. I correct. Your voice calms them as much as my touch. We walk together through the quiet halls toward our private chambers. The afternoon sun slants through tall windows, turning dust motes to floating gold. The northern ambassadors arrive tomorrow, Rowan reminds me, my sister among them. I nod, mentally preparing for Queen Celine's visit. The alliance between our kingdom and the northern pacts has held strong since the war's end. But diplomatic visits always bring a flurry of activity to the palace. Will Sarah join us for the welcome dinner, I ask? Or is she still claiming she's too busy with her studies? Rowan chuckles. Our niece has informed me in no uncertain terms that unless her aunt brings her another book of northern legends, she has no interest in boring grown-up talk about treaties and trade. I laugh, picturing Sarah's determined face. Though not our daughter by blood, we have raised her as our own since the war ended. She calls me Aunt Mira with the same love she once called me Mark Lady in my forest cottage. In our private sitting room, away from the formal spaces where Rowan must be king and I must be queen, we shed the weight of crowns we don't actually wear. Here, he is just my Rowan, the man who found me when he was lost, who saw beauty in what others feared. He pulls me close, pressing his forehead to mine in the Lycan gesture of deepest connection. 5 years, he murmurs. Sometimes it feels like yesterday that you pulled silver poison from my blood in that little cottage. And sometimes it feels like another lifetime, I say, leaning into him. His hands trace the mark on my face, a touch that still sends warmth through my whole body. Do you ever miss it? The quiet of the forest, the simplicity. I consider this, looking around at the comfortable but undeniably grand room that is now our home. So different from my tiny cottage with its herb-hung rafters and creaking floor. I miss the quiet sometimes, I admit. The way you could hear every bird, every leaf rustling, but not the loneliness. I meet his eyes. Never that. He kisses me then, soft and sweet, his arms strong around me. In moments like this, I remember how close we came to losing everything, how the war nearly took him from me before we'd barely begun. The final battle plays in my memory sometimes, like a dream or a nightmare. Lord Various and his Silver Crest allies broke through the palace defenses at dawn. They carried silver weapons and the poison bombs that had killed so many Lycans already. But they hadn't counted on me, on the power that had grown in me through that long winter as Lord Kai taught me to use what had always been inside me. As Various's men stormed the great hall, I stood with Rowan and his Lycan warriors, my mark blazing like the moon itself. I cast a shield of silver light around our fighters, not to harm them, but to protect. For the first time, silver worked for the Lycans instead of against them. Lord Various himself faced Rowan in the center of the hall. The scarred man's face twisted with hate as he saw me standing beside the king. "The witch," he spat. "I should have killed you in the forest when I had the chance." "You never had the chance," Rowan replied, his voice deadly calm as his body began the fluid shift to wolf form. "She was always stronger than you knew." The battle was fierce but shorter than anyone expected. Protected by my shield, the Lycan warriors tore through Various's forces like wind through autumn leaves. And Rowan, magnificent in his true form, finally ended the threat of Lord Various forever. When it was done, when the surviving Silvercrest soldiers surrendered and peace negotiations began, Rowan found me in the quiet of the palace garden. Snow still covered the ground, but the weak winter sun broke through clouds to shine on us. He knelt before me there, not as a king to his subject, but as a man to the woman he loved. "You could have left," he said, "when you saw what war really looks like, when you saw what I really am." "What you really are," I told him, taking his face in my hands, "is exactly who I want. The man and the wolf, the king and the wanderer, all of you." "Then marry me," he said simply. "Be my queen, my mate, my heart. Help me rebuild this kingdom into a place where no one is feared for being different." I said yes, of course. How could I not? In finding him, in saving him, I had also found and saved myself. Now, 5 years later, I pull back from our kiss and look into those golden eyes that first caught mine across a crowded market. "The celebration tomorrow," I say. "Do you think people are ready? Truly ready?" Tomorrow marks 5 years since the Declaration of Unity, the law that gave Lycans and humans equal rights and protection in our kingdom. For the first time, the celebration will include a public transformation ceremony, where Lycan citizens will proudly show their true nature under the full moon. "Because of you, they are," Rowan says with certainty. "You've shown them that differences can be strength, that old fears can be healed." A knock at our door interrupts us. It's Sarah, bursting in without waiting for an answer, her cheeks flushed from running. "Aunt Mira, Uncle Rowan, come quick." Lisa's mark is glowing, and she doesn't know why, and the new boy from the south, his too. We follow her quickly back to the healing wing. Inside, I find not just Lisa and young Tomas with glowing marks, but 3 more of my students as well. They stand together, looking both frightened and amazed as silver light shines from their skin. And then I feel it too, my own mark warming, glowing brighter than it has since the final battle. Outside the windows, though it's still daylight, the full moon has risen early, huge and bright in the spring sky. "What's happening?" Lisa asks, her voice small with wonder. I smile, understanding flowing through me with the moon's power. "It's a blessing," I tell her. "The moon is calling to all her children, telling us that after 5 years of healing, we're finally ready to step fully into our power." Later that night, as the celebration begins early, I stand with Rowan and Sarah on the great balcony overlooking the palace square. Below us, hundreds of people gather, humans and Lycans together, no fear between them. As the moon rises higher, Rowan takes my hand. "Ready?" I nod, and together we raise our joined hands. My mark glows bright as moonlight itself, casting silver light over the crowd. "Let the Festival of Unity begin," Rowan calls, his voice carrying across the square. The crowd cheers, and all across the gathering, Lycans begin their transformations not in hiding or shame, but proudly under the open sky. Parents help children with their first public changes. Human friends watch in wonder rather than fear. And my students, their marks glowing like stars, move through the crowd, helping where needed, healing any who struggle. Sarah slips her hand into mine, looking up at me with shining eyes. "You did this," she says. "You made it so no one has to be afraid anymore." I smile down at her. This child who has become our daughter in all the ways that matter. We all did it, I tell her, by being brave enough to be exactly who we are. Rowan's arm circles my waist, pulling me close against him. His lips brush my ear as he whispers, "The marked outcast and the cursed king. Who would have thought we'd end up here?" I turn in his arms to face him, my hands coming up to frame his beloved face. In this moment, with the moon above and our people below, I am filled with a joy so complete it brings tears to my eyes. I would, I say, my voice strong and sure. From that first moment in the market, when your eyes found mine across the crowd, some part of me knew we were always meant to find each other. His kiss tastes of belonging, of home found in the most unexpected place, not in a cottage or a palace, but in each other's hearts. Under the full moon's glow, my mark illuminates with silver light, matching the streak in his hair, the gold in his eyes. "My Lunaphilia," he whispers against my lips. My heart, the wolf and the healer, the king and the outcast, the unlikeliest of pairs, transformed by love into exactly what we were always meant to be, together.